All right, and we are live. Yeah, happy Friday. Yeah.
Indeed.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Business Octopus if you're watching. And today we're going to be talking about, productization and or you've heard the term servitization, which is basically turning a service into a product.
Mhm.
Um, and how that relates to scale. These conversations happen regularly. Everybody's got an opinion on how it works, but sometimes you need to hear things several times before it really sinks in, or you might, listen to a little thing that it's just a different perspective or another idea, or, one little tidbit can change the game for you. So I had a bit of an epiphany, even though I've been in business for a very long time. Some things are not obvious on how you can productize it. And for the most part, we do some very deep consulting, and it's been very hard to kind of extract out something to productize. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about it here today so that we can, maybe give some ideas to somebody else who's maybe having the same struggles. What about you, Amanda? Have you had any problems when you are trying to build a product or service, or have you just naturally gone straight into business and gone, I'm going to build this and everyone's going to want to buy it?
No, I think it's taken me a long time to get to a productized service or a product that I'm really proud of and that I know works, because we've done so, and you would be the same, I'm sure. You've done so much project work, and we'll dive into that further. You've done so many project-based projects in that vein, where you see how you can create a roadmap and send people on a journey so that they get an amazing outcome. And I'm just going on that journey myself. So we've built our own product, which we can talk about later on in the episode, which I know is going to get great results because it's all of the learnings we've had from doing the project work. How about you, Avon?
Well, I mean, the problem that you don't see it because you don't know what the customer wants. You don't like there's that baseball movie Field of Dreams, and in there they say, if you build it, they will come. And that is the worst line for anything to do with a product. Yes, you can try and build stuff, but in order to get to that point, you got to do a ton of market research if it's not existed before. And even if it has existed, you don't know what form to put it in. Like, go and look at any software platform that exists today. They probably started, the MVP concept of starting with a skateboard and then turning it into a bicycle, and then turning it into a motorbike, then eventually it's a Ferrari. Right? Salesforce got to Salesforce after 20 years of development. NetSuite and Oracle got it to where it is after 20 years of development. Zoho got to where it is after 20 years of development. These things cannot, and yes, features and products and apps can build and spin up very quickly these days because of AI. That still doesn't mean that people want it. A lot of times people spend their life savings, millions of dollars, and borrow money from other people in order to get a product off the ground. But the problem with that is if you don't know whether or not people want it, then that's all money down the toilet. It's a really good idea unless it's been tested. So you kind of need to get those early runs on the board. You need to kind of, like we do, I would say too broad. I know that. We do a lot of things. And then it's not until you go, you look back and you do a retrospective and you say, I've done this one thing like 5 times now. I reckon I could put a wrapper around that, give it some process, write it down, and then make it a separate package that's delivered. Only because we've discovered it by accident, not necessarily because like we know that people need it, but we don't know that people will act on it, or that they will able to explain it themselves. A lot of times we are telling people what they need and then building it for them. That's the consulting piece, because they don't know what they don't know. But when you say, here's this product, and they've heard of it before, they know that, all right, well, CRM is easy, it's a product, right? But sometimes there's things within that we train the client on, hey, you need to think about this. Other times it's more about like solving a particular challenge. In this case, I'm talking about, building a subcontractor portal. So, we probably of, 100 or 500 implementation projects, probably only had, 10 to 15 of these type of portal projects. And every time we do it, people are like, this is amazing. It saved me so much money. I cannot believe that we didn't figure this out earlier. And, you know, part of me goes, that's the consultation piece. Yes, we are going in there and saying, here's a need. If you address that need, you're going to solve this problem. Then they go, yes, all right, sounds good, let's do it. And then we build it. And because that's consultation, we haven't kind of listed that as a product for anybody to buy. You know, we've not made that declaration until we get into the conversation and we start seeing things. But because we've allowed that problem to emerge, sorry, I'm on a rant here. I thought while I'm on a roll, I'm going to just keep going. I'll let you talk in a minute, I promise. But now that we've discovered that kind of like that need or that desire and that solution set that not a lot of people are really offering, or that it's not already polluted in the market with, you know, a million other offerings. It's not that people aren't offering it. It's just that it's not like the main focus. So when people have that specific problem, now they can identify that specific supplier to solve that problem, as in us. So anyway, I'll pause for a minute because I could probably rant on about that. How about you?
We need to start charging admission for your rants, Avon. I swear, my goodness, they are the best. Is that a question?
No, well, I don't know. Well, if like I get on a rant because it's kind of, I've lived it a lot, or you know, it's frustrating to see when people aren't doing the thing, they're not getting the benefit. It's just causing them, you know, they're going through endless frustration and banging their head against the wall for no reason, or they're spending thousands of dollars. Like there was one client, they were going to spend 18 grand a month in licensing because they wanted to give all their subcontractors a license to their primary software platform. But instead, we were able to build a portal license, and then that we were able to fit all of their subcontractors in on a package licensing, which is like $200 a month. So we basically saved them, you know, just shy of 18 grand a month, every month forevermore. So
that's, you know, incredible. Sorry, just repeat that for those playing at home. Did you say $18,000 a month?
Yes.
Wow, what a saving, right? Just by thinking about something differently, right?
And they would have payback on the original project cost in 1.5 months.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. I'm not trying to go like buy now, get a free set of steak knives, but you know, like that's the level of thing where you know that you can solve X problem for someone, and sometimes you can't just go and create the product because the client hasn't shown you that that's their need, that's their problem, or that's their language on how they handle that. And so you kind of need to do it enough times until there's a pattern emerges, and then you can go, all right, well, they're saying this, they're feeling that, and this is the outcome that we deliver. And so then you get those runs on the board, you get those case studies, then you productize it, then you can hand it off to a sales team and get out of the founder-led sales for that process.
Exactly. And those case studies, those experiences allow you to map out what your product is going to be, so that you are basically ensuring that everyone that comes through that process gets a massive win. Like maybe not to the tune of 18K a month. Is that an outlier, or is that expected, Avon?
No, that's not an outlier. Not at all.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
There's another one. It's about the same, it's just expressed differently. 150 grand a year in licensing for another one. They wanted to have a couple hundred subcontractors, or I think they had 150 users or something like that, and then they wanted to scale to 2,000 or 1,000 over the next 4 years. But they're all volunteers, right? So it's a volunteer management portal, which is the same thing. Subcontractor portal, volunteer management portal, whatever their contractual relationship with you is almost irrelevant. What matters is they need to create a profile, they need to upload some information, they need to receive some information, do a few things, get a notification, and that's it. They don't need the everyday use of a bigger platform. They just need to be able to interact with your data and have you capture information, get metrics and things like how many people applied, how many people accepted, how many people currently active or, finishing up or whatever. And then it reduces the admin time. Like the individual who's doing the work ends up, instead of managing 500 people, they're managing this little portal app and just go bulk, click, 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 done.
Yeah,
and
nice.
There's all the notifications and things. And a lot of that seems very basic, But the fact that people will happily pay, 2 or 3 resources and complain about, all the admin, but not spend, a one-time, 20, 30, even like 50 grand to solve the problem, and then have it go down, have the cost base go down permanently and significantly. So it's like but that's the productization gap. So building the product means that you can solve a big problem, that you can that you make it worthwhile, and it's unreasonable for someone to say no when they really sit down and think about it. So now we can advertise, now we can market.
Exactly. And that's where you want to get to, team. You want to have your product so dialed in so that it's a no-brainer, the case studies, the testimonials, those outcomes, so that it is near impossible for them to say no. Absolutely. So Avon, what can we share with our viewers today around the steps they could take to build their first product? Where would they start?
Well, first thing I would say is go back and look at all the things you've sold to date. What stands out as the thing you've done most often? What stands out as something that is ideally simple and or simple enough to be repeatable or to be structured? Like, even though something may be extremely complex, or very unique for each individual, there will be some themes that are the same in all of those projects.
Absolutely.
You need to onboard them, right? There's a meeting at that point, and you need to gather some requirements, maybe for us, right? So each project takes a number of months, and each project, we probably only get 1 or 2 a year at the moment. We could probably handle 20 or 30, but that's the value of the product, is that over time we build the snippets, we build the templates, and because you've had that conversation 10 times at the start, that, right, we need to cover this, and this, and when I have all of that information, I can go to the next step. That can be productized. Yes, you might have specific questions that you ask. Then in the next phase, you go, these are the tasks that we do all of the time. We always build this framework. We always, like in a house, you always do the foundation, you always do the walls, you always do the roof. So the structure. Then you just have variables within that. Just go, all right, are the floors wood? Are they concrete? Are the walls, wood paneling, or are they plaster? And then from that, you go on to the next phase. Like, a house is a very long and complicated thing, but you can productize it. It's no different.
Absolutely. It is. That's exactly what builders do, right? Buy it off a plan. Exactly. 100%. So we can do it with our services as well.
Yes. Now, you alluded that you had a product, productized. Yeah. Let's dig into that.
Yeah. So one thing that we have done really well over the past few years, and I sort of slept on it a little bit originally, was building out a business's Google, so their search engine, so that all of their knowledge management, their learning management is taken care of. So anyone can jump onto the system and find out how to do a process to the highest possible standard. And as we always say, Avon, so they can get a great result even on their worst day, right? So we've created a 13-week sprint, a 90-day accelerator, which takes them through a process. So the founder or the general manager or the operations manager or a group from the organization can come in, take the program. I've got it all mapped out over 13 weeks. They just have to dedicate across their team 30 minutes a day. And by the end of it, they will have their searchable business Google, their business playbook, so that they can franchise, they can sell, the founder can actually step away, because they know that everything is going to be taken care of without stuff being stuck in their head. We've actually got it into a system now. So that's what I've been working on in the background. Very excited about it. We've got people beta testing it, and we've got our first people lined up to start on the 1st of July. So very exciting.
I'll have an odd look on my face because I'm trying to hold back a sneeze. No, I think we're good. We're good. All right.
He's got this.
So, have you defined like a landing page, a sales process, and you've got like your ideal customer segment for that, and then you've got all of those little bits and pieces nailed, and that's that for me anyway, I've always found it a lot harder to do. Like I don't just naturally think in landing pages. Like everything is interrelated in my head. So I can't go, all right, let's bundle it into this, then this, then this. You know, sometimes it's much easier to look at somebody else and go, all right, well, I'm seeing this, I'm hearing this. You should bundle it like this, 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 and this. So you're probably best just to talk to other people and share your ideas with others, or like, here's what I'm doing, here's what's working, because they're going to pick up on themes, or they're going to go, this makes sense to me when I hear it this way, and maybe have several of those conversations. Because you know, I'm doing all things all the time, and I can't, like, my brain goes all around the place, like, you know, payroll, supplier relationship, dealing with some, you know, issue, and you can't just, and you try to have the headspace, like, and even now, like I've had quite a bit of time to build some of these things, but you know, you still don't know what you don't know as an owner, and you really, as a founder or whatever, you need to go and talk to other people to understand how to productize what you think is going to work. So for some people, it comes very naturally. You know, there's lots of consultants on, you know, Instagram and all that sort of stuff that like build your product. You know, here's your high ticket offer, but like, what is an offer? Like, what do I have to sell? Like, I constantly sit there and look at myself and go, I can't do anything. I don't know what I can do. I don't know how to sell it. I feel like I know stuff, and people seem to think I know stuff because they pay me for things, but it's like that assumed knowledge problem where you don't realize what other people value because it's just normal for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you know a lot more about filmmaking than I ever will, or I know a lot more about, I don't know, CRMs than what you know. So it doesn't mean that the other person is less valuable or whatever. It's just that everybody has a different skill set. Or it's just differently across different knowledge areas.
Spot on. So Aben is infinitely more intelligent than he's making himself out to be. He's very capable of creating products.
I'm just a dummy, honestly. I have no idea how I got here. I just stumble along, and some people say I do good stuff, and I'm like, okay.
Is it that 99% of it though showing up? It's the consistency, right? Haven't we spoken about this before?
Yes, we have. But you know, like I guess, you know, I don't feel special. I feel like I'm maybe constantly got something to prove or to fix or improve or to do better on. And maybe that's the superpower, is not being so comfortable with everything being as it is, as to say, well, actually there's a better way to do things. There's a process, there's something we can build. I'm probably more like tangible things, whereas, you know, I think sometimes the selling packages can be a little bit more you know, esoteric, and you don't know the language the other person is going to use. You could use 5 different words to say the same thing, and unless you test them all, you don't know which one is gonna go.
Exactly. I was having this conversation with one of our community members yesterday, Richard. So you need to really tune into the language that your customers and your clients are using to describe the pain they're in, so that you can speak to them and they go, oh, I need that. I understand that. That speaks to me. So yes, I digress.
Maybe get a landing page buddy or something like that. Is, you know, run it by a few people first. Go, you read this, what do you hear? Or when you read this, what stands out to you? What makes sense? Well, you know, we did that in the community. We had, you know, Kane. He posted up his landing page, and he shared that with me previously, actually. And I'd said, oh, what about this or what about that? Fix this, fix that. And, you know, little things. It wasn't massive. You know, it was more like, you know, maybe make this. And it can go, yeah, this is a trust element. It really stands out. Have you thought about putting such and such there? And you'll just deliver a big product, a better product. I know by the time I've gone and built all of the product and the process, I feel a little bit exhausted. It's kind of like when you post content like this, there's the whole actual running, you know, filming the video, then there's the editing the video, then there's the upload of the video, then you've got to go and do the description and all of that stuff. Then if you want to take it a step further, you've then got to market the video, break it into snippets, and do all those sub posts and sub posts and blah 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 blah. It is a mountain of effort, and usually I used to film, hit stop, and then upload, and then by that stage I was done. I couldn't do the description or the tagging. Like I was done at the content creation phase. So you know, sometimes I think you get a little bit worn out, and because you've already spent this time building a product, then you need to build all the sales materials around it, then the support materials. And the support can be, you know, as people are having problems, you answer the question, but then create an article at the same time. You know, don't go and write 100 articles for no reason. So anyway, I digress. I think we covered a lot today. We've really hit on a few things, but we started on productizing, and let's finish on that one. Did you have anything else to share?
No, just to remind everyone to stay classy.